order here. Thanks for your patience for a couple minutes late coming down from RDA. There's a lot of good stuff happening upstairs. So it's Tuesday, May 10th, and I am chairing the Finance Committee. I'm Alderman Joe Moore, and I am joined here with Alderman Tom Duane, Alderman Tom Slotnick, and Alderman Mark Stoyer. Can I get an approval of the agenda?
So moved.
Second. Got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
We'll approve the agenda then as it is presented to us today. Can I get an approval for the minutes or comment on the approval for the minutes?
Do we
for
need to move anybody up during?
April 26th?
No, we're good. We should be good.
I'll second.
I've got a motion and a second for approval of the minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
And none opposed. Great. And item number 4, request by the purchasing manager. A is to award the designation of the official newspaper for the city of the Green Bay to the Green Bay Press Gazette for the estimated annual amount of $62,000. Staff.
Yes.
This is an annual formality for the sake of the new members of the Finance Committee. State statute requires the city to publicly advertise for an official newspaper, required to post the classified and the ads that the city runs, council minutes, that type of thing. There's only one newspaper that's eligible that meets the requirements based on circulation, which happens to be the Press Gazette. The rates are set by the state. The Press Gazette charges the maximum allowable rate because it's the only show in town. And we spend about $62,000 a year on classified ads. So I'm reporting that Press Gazette submitted the official bid. We're recommending an award to the Press Gazette for an estimated annual amount of $62,000.
Okay, I have a couple questions from the committee. Alderman Stoyer?
Thank you, Chair. Rick, with the 62,000, over time, what have the rate increases been? I know it's state-driven, but is it generally a small increase?
Yeah, and actually
It's every
this
2
year-
years, right? Every 2 years? Or
Well,
every
they
year?
set the rates every 2 years.
Every 2 years.
We have to advertise and declare an official newspaper every year.
Each year. So I just wondered what the
Yeah.
rates
This year, the rates actually went down 1%. Press Gazette circulation continues to decline. We're running about the same number of classified advertising, but I guess because of the declining circulation, the state did reduce the rates incrementally.
Okay, so it's out of our hands in that
Yes.
sense, right? Okay, that's all I have.
Alderman Duane, did you have a question?
I just have a fun fact question. Can we deduct them, have them in a provision put every time they get a council story wrong, they get deducted $500?
I don't think it's in
I
the
don't
state
think, I think they
statute.
would owe us money at the end. I'm just thinking out of the box.
Retraction.
They would owe us money.
We can make money.
No?
yes.
Okay, move to approve.
Second, okay, Tom.
I've got a motion and a second to approve the award. All in favor?
Aye.
And none opposed. Thank you. Item number 5, request by the Common Council and city departments to review and approve 2016 bonding request. I will
In
send
your
this one
packet,
to you, Dawn.
second page in on the back side is a list of all the bonding requests, and in the packet itself, we also have memos from departments and over their CIP programs that they actually send through their respective committees. So we put the list together. The one request I do have is speaking with Mike Ronick, our IT administrator. When we originally came forward for our request for cabling, upgrading all of our cabling because it's end of life, we did base our engineering number based on IT. Well, the engineering floor, which is the 3rd floor, actually has about 3 times as many drops as IT. So we're respectively requesting an additional $20,000 be added to the $110,000 for upgrading all of our cabling on 3rd and 2nd floor. And what was the other floor that we're doing? 2nd and 3rd?
Yeah, adding 20.
3rd and 2nd. 3rd and 2nd, thank you.
I've got one question, Director Fuller, and it relates to Chief Layton with fire. In some correspondence, we had discussed adding a storm siren in a dead zone that would reach across the wildlife sanctuary and up into Bay Beach a little bit. Is that something that is worth bonding, or is that something maybe surplus funds could be applied for?
Surplus, and I also suggested, we had bonded for a project in the fire department a couple years ago as a roof replacement, and asked if there were some dollars still in that fund that we could use, because I think the request is like $30,000.
Right.
Which, in the past, when you bring sometimes smaller values like that forward, they'll say, well, remember, we have this rule, and usually the rule is that we don't bond for anything of value of under $100,000. So he kind of agreed with me, so, right, Chief?
That was my next question.
He says, I say yes, he says no.
Yeah, no, we have some other sources available.
Okay, great. All right, anything else from the committee?
Move to approve.
Oh, we got a question.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh,
No,
yes,
that's okay.
I'm sorry, Alderman Nenny?
I didn't see it.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. One of the things that was discussed at the Park Committee, I'd like to talk, is the funding for the East River Trail, and I'd like to talk with the committee about this a little bit. At the Park Committee, there was a motion by Alderman Nicholson to reduce the amount that was bonded for the East River Trail project by $60,000. And it was his intention in that to put $60,000 in for playground equipment replacement at Wilder Park. And I guess after the Park Committee meeting, we had a discussion about it, and I really think it would be wise to include the amount for the East River Trail that the department requested, which was $275,000. That's $60,000 more than what's on your list. And this project is one that has been ongoing for quite some time. It's identified as a priority in both the city's smart growth comp plan as well as the park recreation and open space plan. The park department requested $275,000 to be matching funds for grant money that is available for trail development. And this won't be enough to completely finish the trail, but it will go a long way toward progressing on the trail. If we don't have, if we have a lesser amount available in our bond issue, then the department can only request a smaller amount in stewardship funding to match it. So I really think, in having thought this through, that we would be wise to put the amount that the department requested in here. The stewardship program, periodically there's discussion about discontinuing that program. Right now, trails is a high priority for that program. And I really think it's important that we move as aggressively as we can on that while the matching funds is available, because it is a project that the city's been doing for quite some time, and I think it's better to have the funds available now to proceed with it. We do have people from our park department here that can talk on it, answer your questions. Most of this project is in Alderman Scandal's district, but it connects up with trails in my district. The idea here is to have a connection between the Fox River trails and the East River and Bear Creek trails on the east side, so to develop this connection. Recently, in the last couple of months, some of the buildings that the city has been acquiring with grant money and city money over the years were taken down, and it's gotten people in the community very excited about the prospects of this trail going in. So
You can actually see the river
ask
again.
that you consider adding $60,000 for that purpose.
Can I just ask you one question, and then
I want to
have
pass
the
it.
community back too. So 275 right now in borrowing, we can get a match of 275. If we only do 215, we get a match of 215. Basically doubling what we're borrowing here. Okay, I just wanted to
Exactly.
clarify that.
Yeah.
Thank you. Alderman Dwayne?
Yeah, Dave, in your discussion after the meeting, was it discussed to add 60,000 back into the trail, but also keep money in there for Wilder? Because I think that's important to that
Right.
project.
Well, I'm not
Since it's
familiar
in my
with-
district, it's
I'm
been
not
wild
familiar
since
with
they've been
Wilder
having it.
myself, but Alderman Nicholson felt strongly about that, so I'm not asking you to shift money from one to another, I'm just asking you to add it for the East River Trail.
No, I'm just wondering, is that 60,000 still going to stay in the pot to get that done?
It's in the request.
Yes.
It's still in there.
Well, Donnie's shaking no.
No,
Oh,
I'm
she's-
saying yes. It's-
Oh,
The
okay.
60,000 is still in there for Wilder, right?
Ah, it's
So
beautiful.
your request is for us to add another 60,000 into the bonding for the Parks Department?
Yes, in other words, what the department had requested for the East River Trail, for matching funds for the East.
Mr. Chair, if I still.
Yes, Alderman Wade.
Yeah. Alderman Nenning, as you know, hopefully we can get the entire city connected to the
West
outside
side.
world.
Right.
West side, I mean, the whole thing needs to be done. So at a time when we need matching, when we get a chance to get these matching grants, I think we'd be foolish not to ever not take care,
Right.
take it.
It's a project that benefits the whole city, not just.
No, I
certain
understand that,
districts,
because
people.
People in my district go to the farthest end
Yeah.
in their truck, ride the trail, then ride it back, and then they come back home. I have a lot of people in my district that use them all over, I mean, really, every day religiously. So I'm 100%. My next question, and I think a couple on our panel might not want to hear this, but if we have an opportunity, and I don't want to go overboard or anything like that, is that enough? I mean, do we have an opportunity to go a little bit further on these grants? And maybe Donnie might have to answer that, because
Well, I think that this was put together because this was a realistic amount for, for 1 year.
if we're satisfied with this amount, Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve.
To amend the amount.
We would be satisfied with the 275 at this point, because we wouldn't be able to build the rest of the trail anyway. And then again,
I
we'll come
understand.
back in next year and apply for another grant and ask you for matching.
Thank you, Donnie. I'll make a motion to amend the amount of, what, you got the total in front of you, Joe?
The amendment so far to add $20,000 for IT, raising that amount from 110,000 to 130,000. Adding 60 right here then would raise Parks, Rec, and Forestry's bond request to $4,220,000.
Thank you, that would be my motion.
Is there any other questions from the committee? Anybody in the audience want to speak on this?
The only other item, if I may, is Brad McGoot is here from Robert Baird, and he had distributed to you just the timeline, and the purposes would require us to issue 2 different debt issues, and then we would also be looking at refinancing 2 separate state plus fund loans, so there'd be 3 different debt issues that would come before you next week that would cover what you just approved, what you are looking to approve today.
That'll come back at the next meeting?
It'll come before you at the council, you'll see
Oh,
all
at the
these
council, okay.
resolutions, and I just want you to be aware of what they are for.
Do anybody on the committee here have any other questions? Alderman Sawyer?
Actually, yes. Dawn, I had a question. On these bonding requests, for example, where it says $350,000 for walkways, trails, and bridges, do we have breakdowns of that?
Yes, for
Do you know
the-
further breakdowns?
Every single page in your document.
Or is
The
that-
first one is fire, the next one is all DPW, then right
But
after
just
DPW,
specific.
you'll see a list from parks. Is
Okay.
there, and this came right out of their park committee
Okay,
last week.
all right. I just wanted to make sure that.
I do this
that
for
was shown.
ease of the bond council putting the resolutions together, so they
All right. Okay.
they know what the
I'm
purposes
good with
are.
that. Thank you.
Mhm.
That's all I have.
On the City Hall request with the stairwell lighting, is everything going LED? And is that, I guess, for staff? Yes, okay, thank you. Okay, well, I have a motion
I'll second.
with an amendment, and I have a second with the amendments that were noted.
Oh, I do
Was
have
there
one
any other
question.
discussion? Yes.
Yeah. I don't know who, maybe Steve or somebody, are the lights, the bridge lights in with this bonding or no?
Yes, they are.
Yes, sir. yes.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
I'll second it.
I've got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None? And that passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 6, request by Alderman Joe Moore to discuss with possible action the payoff of 3 state trust fund loans with principal outstanding of $1,226,000 using excess sales tax money. I will refer this one actually over to staff so that we can take a look at these numbers.
That is correct. There are 3 separate issues out there, so that I just want to call to your attention. It's certainly up to you that these can be paid off at any time. And it's with the, and I was suggesting, Alderman Moore had brought it forward, that we could use excess sales tax if you so choose. If you don't, these bond issues would stay out. Final maturity on one of the issues is 2029. The principal payment's $1,226,000. And the interest rates are between 2.76 and 3.5%. Future interest payments are $218,000.
Well, I will just say that I see this as an opportunity to eliminate a couple $100,000 in interest with a $1.2 million payment. I think that debt reduction is something that the council has talked a lot about. I know that these funds are sitting there. They're not gaining the interest right now that we could be saving with this expenditure. So I'll just pass this off to the committee here for discussion. Alderman Sloy.
Thank you, Chair. You know, I know, as far as this Packer excise tax, you know, we've got bombarded with requests and all sorts of things over time. I was gonna ask you, Tom, is with the advisory committee, is that something that we're gonna be going through with that?
Yes,
All right.
we gotta deal with it all tomorrow. We gotta figure
We're
out
doing
what's
it on
going on
Thursday?
and
Is
get a
this
good
on Thursday?
direction.
Yes, it's on Thursday.
No matter what action is taken today,
Yeah.
obviously it could be
We can
reversed at
still-
council
yeah.
based on what
I'm
happens.
just
in
wondering if
advisory.
we, do we need to hold that till advisory, or?
We can do some, if you feel you can do something now, because we can discuss what happens Thursday and now, and this way, if the council decides to go with this way to save the money, it's already forwarded and we can get it done. If the council decides not to do it, we just vote it down, we just deny it, but this way, the
At least we
request
have
is on the
it.
board. That's my opinion. I mean, there's no, you know, whatever happens Thursday and whatever happens tonight, both is going to council.
Sounds good.
You know, and I'll just say, look, I mean, it's not sexy, you know, there's no ribbon to go cut and no shiny building to stand in front of, but I think that it's a good use of the funds. Alderman Slide.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I agree, it's not sexy, you don't get to cut any ribbons, but I think it's entirely in keeping with what the legislative intent was of returning this money. And I do understand that we'll have some more discussion about it as time goes on, so it can be altered. But at this point, I favor it. It's consistent with what I'm hearing from my constituents, which is spend that money on basic blocking and tackling stuff that's gonna benefit everybody in the city. So I'll move approval of this
I would
initiative.
second that then.
I have a motion to approve, and I have a second. Is there any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That passes. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, you know, it might start something finally. You know,
It might.
yeah, it might get the match that need to be lit.
And that number for the interest payments is $218,074.43.
Mr. Chairman, if I may too, I'd like to receive and place on file 7 and 8.
I'll read them into the record. Item number 7 is to request by Alderman Tom Dwayne to create a graph to show the overall bonding for the last 10 years, showing how much we have bonded for. Item number 8 is a request from Alderman Tom Dwayne to make a graph showing the total outstanding debt from the last 10
Now,
years.
this is something I'm looking at just to see what's been the past history and stuff like that, so there's no need to go into it.
Request by Alderman Dwayne is to receive and place on file. Can I have a second? I have a second. That's on both items. All in favor?
Aye.
None opposed.
Make a motion to receive and place number 9. Receive and place on file.
I'll read in number 9, request by Alderman Nicholson for available copies of the city management letter from the external auditor for the past 10 years. These are right here, mailed out, and each council member does have a copy of them now. The motion on the floor is to receive and place on file,
Second.
and I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None? And we'll move on, thank you. On the next 2 items, I did get an email, I think we all got an email today from Alderman Weary about tabling these items until the documents come back. But I will go ahead and take them one at
I'll
a time here.
second that.
Item 10 is held from the Finance Committee meeting of April 26, 2016. The request by Alderman Weary to allocate at least $250,000 of 2015 surplus funds toward the Colburn Pool project. I have a motion to table.
Motion.
Mr. Chairman, if I may,
Yes.
there's no date on the table, and I think the proper motion, you need a date if you're gonna table something. We don't have one here. If he wants to bring something back, he can bring something back at a later date, so I think the proper motion would be receive and place on file. Unless you have an accurate date of when you bring something back, you can't table something.
I have a motion to receive and place on file on item 10.
I'll go with that.
And I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None? Item 11, held from Finance Committee meeting of April 26, 2016. The request, should the Colburn Olympic Pool project come in higher than the original $4.5 million, estimate up to $1 million of the excess stadium tax revenue is utilized to fund the overage. I have a motion here to receive this item and place it on file.
So moved.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. Great. And item number 12, report by the Finance Director.
The only thing that I have to report tomorrow is our border review starts at 9 o'clock, and we have 5 requests to be heard by that body, so just pretty low considering that we have 35,000 parcels.
Well, how many parcels?
35.
35.
And the meeting is when?
Starts at 9 o'clock tomorrow.
Or donuts?
I don't know if you can do it.
Receive and place on file.
Second.
Motion received and placed on file and seconded by Alderman Steuer. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? None?
No.
Entertain a motion to adjourn.
Perfect.
So moved.
Second.
Motion second to adjourn. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? None?
Done, aye.
What?
That was a 25-minute finance meeting.
No, it wasn't. It started at 4:30 or 4:34, because you came in a few minutes late, so 34 to 54, 20 minutes.
The chairs.
Cool. 20 minutes. Way to go.